how are you doing today?
Very well, thank
Brilliant,
you.
bro.
So for all the viewers watching, this is episode 1 of the Miri Homes Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking all things real estate and how this man got to owning his own real estate company in the heart of Dubai and Business Bay. So without further ado, Ajazz, let's get right into it.
I want to tell you, Ricardo, more than talking about real estate, I would love to talk about life.
Okay.
So I believe that everything that we do is connected to life.
Mm-hmm.
So life becomes the epitome of everything else that spurs from it.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate is a profession,
Mm-hmm.
something that we do to add value to people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's begin.
Absolutely. Well, if that's the case, then let's talk about how you ended up in Dubai. What's the story of Ajazz coming here and where are you from originally?
Okay. So it's a long story. I'm originally from Kashmir,
Mm-hmm.
which is the northmost part of India.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about Kashmir?
I do know about Kashmir.
It is
Yes.
beautiful. It's like
Right.
Switzerland. And I started way early into manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
I was into manufacturing and adding value to the products out of Kashmir,
Mm-hmm.
like all the beautiful handicrafts that came out from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I designed them. So I'm a product designer by profession. That's
Interesting.
one part
Okay.
of my whole package.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I design products.
Mm-hmm.
and-
What kind of products?
So we started off with these beautiful rugs that used to be made in Kashmir,
Mm-hmm.
and these came in. So the whole of Kashmir has its history back from Iran, from Persia.
Mm-hmm.
So all the craft, the art came 500-600 years before from Sheikh Zainul Abidin in from Iran.
Okay.
So the influence was all Persian.
Mm-hmm.
And that influence brought out a lot of change in Kashmir in terms of language, in terms of art, in terms of the whole cuisine.
Mhm.
So the language became Persian. Then the king brought with him lots of crafts like carpet weaving, which is very famous, the
Mhm.
silk carpets of Iran.
Okay.
So Kashmir started weaving its own carpets,
Mm-hmm.
and then we came into the art of paper mache,
Mm-hmm.
which was initially in Persia, and then it went to France, and then it became the breeding ground in Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Kashmir has some of the best shawls of the world. The most of the royalties in France, in UK, all over Europe, like you're talking about the queens and the kings, you're talking about 400, 500, 1,000 years back.
Mm-hmm.
All the royalties, like today, what is the symbol of luxury? If you see, if somebody has a Rolls Royce, you feel okay, he's there, you know.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
somebody wears a Richard Mille, you feel okay, he's arrived.
Mhm.
So at that time, the similarity or a comparison was if somebody wore a Kashmiri shawl.
Mm. Okay. And what is this shawl exactly?
So it's a piece of fabric
Mhm.
which is made out of very thin wool, which is known as pashmina.
Mhm.
And this fabric is woven by hand with embroideries.
Mhm.
And the designers used to come from France.
Okay.
They used to sit in Kashmir. Each shawl would take maybe 8, 10, 15 years to make.
Wow.
And they used to commission these pieces.
Mhm.
And then these pieces were worn and adorned by the royalty. So if you see Gallery Lafayette, or if you go to the museum, the Louvre,
Mhm.
you will see pieces of Kashmir antiquity.
Mhm.
If you open old heritage books, and if you see the princes and the princesses of the English era, the French, the Spanish, you'll see them wearing these beautiful textiles. And these textiles were commissioned in Kashmir.
Wow.
So Kashmir became a breeding ground for art.
So back then it was 15 years to create a piece of this.
Mhm.
How long does it take these days if someone wants this? Kashmir
Firstly,
gown.
it cannot be replicated. Most of those artists who used to do that level of work, known as Jamawar, are not there anymore.
Mhm.
And the craft, the way it is there now, is in another form of Jamawar,
Mhm.
which takes about 2 years or 3 years to make. Nobody has the patience to weave a shawl for 15 years, one piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, Kashmir still weaves out amazing merchandise.
Mhm.
Still, and those
Absolutely.
pieces are still sold world over. There are pieces that take 2 years and 3 years to make,
Mhm.
and there are families which are still making them.
Yeah.
So Kashmir has this antiquity, this art, and this whole spirit to it.
Mhm.
This is one side of Kashmir, which
Mhm.
is art.
Mhm.
Another side of Kashmir is spirituality.
Okay.
So it
Tell
used
me
to
more
be the
about
hub of the spiritual realm.
Mhm.
So most of the masters of this whole spiritual ideology took seat in Kashmir from time to time.
Okay.
So different religions, from Buddhism, Hinduism to Islam, they all have a lot of, even Christianity, they have a lot of sanctity to the place. And Kashmir is like, it's a real estate interview, but I'm talking Kashmir because that's where I'm from. And that's why the company name Miri, Kashmiri, you see? That's the connection.
Right.
So this is the connection that I have with Kashmir. I feel that it's very much a part of my DNA, as much as I feel that we are globally all one. So whether we are in Kashmir or we are in Dubai or we are in China or we are wherever we are on this earth, we are all connected. But of course, because of our birth, our nationality, regionality, ethnicity, culture, religion, we find ourselves different. But in totality, we are one human being.
Absolutely.
The same cells, the same DNA, the same blood, everything is the same.
Yeah, and we all share some things in common, but there are those little individualities that make us unique.
Absolutely.
I was born in Germany. I was raised in Australia. Our cultural backgrounds are completely different, but we're here in the same building, sharing the same stories.
Exactly.
So it's a beautiful world.
Exactly.
So how did you come to Dubai, and what age was that transition?
Yes, I started off from exports in India, and I started off when I was 19 years old. And by 21, I was the youngest exporter in India with the highest turnover.
Wow.
Economic Times did an article on me called as Brat Barons, from rugs to riches. So by 24, I was the youngest exporter in India, making a huge difference to the Kashmir industry. So that was my journey. I started selling into chains of stores through Europe and America. Big names like Pottery Barn, Williams-Sonoma, all of these names. We used to sell huge amount of merchandise, and we used to do shows all around the world. Whether it was the New York Textile Show, it was the Heim Textile in Frankfurt, or we would do the FTEX at Turkey. So I came to Dubai for a show, and that show was called as Index. And there's an amazing story about it. When I came to the show, and I was of course into manufacturing of home furnishings, specifically fabrics and rugs. So the way the shows run is that most of the wholesalers would come to buy from us. And these wholesalers would be with chains of stores, and their quantities would be huge. So the business on these shows was huge. So that was the idea, to activate the Middle East market and to create a distribution here. So when I came to Index and I set up my show, me and my brother were here, we found that there was no one brand that had multiple stores. Like you see any brand in the US or in Europe, they have like 200 stores, 300, 500, 1,000 stores. So if they would buy one rug from you, they had to buy 1,000 rugs because they had to put it in all the chain stores. So we thought we will set up the same distribution in the Middle East, but we saw there was nothing happening. So the first day I was so frustrated. There was nobody walking in. And people who were walking were mostly ladies who would come into the show and like the piece of rug and say, "Come Hada, how much is this?" And I said, "This is $130, $200. Oh, here the money, can I take it?" So we had to explain that this is a wholesale show and we don't sell retail, and I can't sell this to you. I can only sell if you do a minimum order of 500 pieces, blah, blah, blah. So this happened once, and the second customer I tried to make understand, and the third, then the fourth, and then I got tired. What the hell is this? I can't be doing this whole day. So me and my brother were like holding our head. What the hell are we going to do? This is no business happening and people just eating your brain out. So I said, you know what? This rug, how much is this for? My brother said, this is for $130. I said, no, next time somebody comes, tell them this is for $1,300. They won't ask you the next question. They'll just go. So you don't have to go through the whole story why you can't sell it. He said, done. So I said, okay, 10 times pick prices and everything. So I put the rug on $1,300, and then the woman comes in, a client comes in, and oh, how much is this for? Come Hada. I said, $1,300. Can I have one? I said, what? Can I have one? I said, okay, this is crazy. Here the story looks different. I said, okay, you can have one, but I can only deliver after 60 days because this is sample. Sure, no problem, here. So we converted the wholesale show into a retail show, and we made loads of money on that show. And that was an eye-opener to Dubai. That was an eye-opener to this region, that this region has a huge potential. And we decided, instead of getting into wholesale, let's get into retail.
Okay.
So that's where my journey starts in 2003.
So everything was going well in this industry. You were making big money, markup of times 10 almost.
Exactly.
Why did you change to real estate?
Well, again, stories to everything. 2019, 19, the retail story of Dubai started to expand in a way and shrink in a way. Expand in a way because we started in 2004 with our first store at Madinah Jumeirah. And this market was very small. And there were hardly any places. Madinah Jumeirah was the epitome. And everybody coming to Dubai would come to that one location. So whatever we had envisioned for about a year worth of turnover, we did it in a month. And we said, wow, the retail setup here is going to be great. So we set up the first store, and in a month we covered the whole turnover.
Wow.
And then after a few months, Mall of Emirates was just coming in, and we got an invitation from Mall of Emirates that we love your concept, we would like to have your store in our mall. And Mall of Emirates from Madinah Jumeirah is a stone's throw away. It's hardly a mile. We had to think that does it make sense having two stores of the same brand in the same vicinity? But we took the decision because, of course, Majid Al Futtaim has a great reputation, and Mall of Emirates had a store known as the City Center, which was highly successful. So we took the decision, we opened the store there. The next year, Mall of Emirates opened, and you won't believe it. By the time Mall of Emirates was opening, I had to park my car half a kilometer away from the building because there was no way to get to Mall of Emirates. You had to walk through sand. There was nothing. Al-Barsha was zero. There was nothing. It was sand. JBR was zero. There was nothing. Madinah Jumeirah had just come up. So we opened a second store in Mall of Emirates, and the sales were like crazy. We were doing as good as we were doing in Madinah Jumeirah. This was our second store. The retail story grew till 2013, 14, and then we saw when Dubai Mall opened and Dubai started expanding, so the business started growing into different pockets now. A client who would just come into Madinah Jumeirah would not just go to Madinah Jumeirah. Now there was so much more happening. Though we increased our footprint, we opened 5 stores within the region, but the sale per store dropped. And it reached a point in 2019 where it was like we were thinking, is it going to stay profitable? Because the kind of amount and resource and energy that I'm putting into retail, if I put it elsewhere, this would mean something else. You see?
Yeah.
So then sometimes things happen and nature has its way. COVID happened, the retail got completely, I think the tourist retail was the first to get hit and the last to recover, and we took a huge hit at that point. So at that point we shut down a lot of stores and then came down to the decision and conclusion that retail is not going to survive this market. We'll have to think differently.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to go digital. So that was the point when I toyed with the idea of getting into real estate.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate. I was surrounded by a lot of people who said that, look Ajazz, the set skills that you have, because most of the clients that I had in my existing business were all high net worth individuals and were people from different parts of the world who were investing already in Dubai. And these were the people who I was, at first names with, because I was helping them do up their homes. And they trusted my decision with their homes. So I made a lot of friends out of these clients. And at times, one of them comes back to me, Ajazz, you know what, next week what are you doing? I said, tell me, what is it? He said, I'd like to invite you. We have a small celebration. I said, done. What are we doing? I bought a pad on the pound for 50 million dirhams. I said, wow, congratulations, that's brilliant. And then I'm thinking, wow, 50 million dirhams, 4% commission, do the math.
Incredible.
That kind of money I could have made with this client because he is eating out of my hands. If I would have been the person to assist him in finding that appropriate property, this is a great business model. And there were a lot of people around me who also told me, encouraged me, pushed me, that Ajazz, you've got the set of skills, you know the market, why don't you go into real estate? So that was a turning point in 2020 after COVID.
Okay.
I decided that the format of real estate, the base that I have, I just need to shift the gear. I'm already in the car.
Okay.
You see? At that point, I joined a local company. And sometimes certain decisions that you make are time bound. Things happen in life when they have to, as much as you want to push it. Of course, I am a strong believer of manifestation. I believe that my thought, my awareness, and my consciousness can manifest a lot of things. But I also know that there is a much greater power that takes control of us all. And there is a timing to everything. As much as you try to do things, they may not happen unless the time is there. You see? So it's kind of uncanny, but it's true. Having come into real estate today, I feel if I was in real estate in 2004 with the kind of passion, and I'm not being too pompous about it, the kind of passion I have about things, the kind of market that I see, I would definitely have been right now in the top maybe 5.
Wow.
In the top 5 in real estate. And again, I'm not talking from the sense of arrogance, being pompous. I'm talking about from awareness, from consciousness.
Well, I've seen you operate the last few days, and I've seen some of the deals coming your way, so I have no doubt in that, certainly.
Thank you.
What I'm curious about is, you could do this on your own.
Yes.
You could hustle by yourself and be a multimillionaire and not have the stress that you currently do. But what's inspired you to come here, to start your own company, to have people working under you, and to invest all of your time and energy into this? What's the thought process behind that?
So, when I joined real estate, I wanted to join right from the beginning. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I've created brands, I've created companies. I've always been my own boss. I've never worked under or for anyone in my entire life. In real estate, things were different because I needed to know what is it, how the market operates. And I'm somebody who, if I want to get into something, then you need to get right from the basics so that you have a clearer view of the whole mechanism. So in order to be on the top, you need to start at the bottom. So I went in right at the bottom in one of the companies here, and I started as an agent. And the first day I came in, they just threw a bunch of papers on me. This is a list, call. And why am I calling? What am I doing? Oh, you have the sales skills. You're selling Port de la Mer. I said, what is Port de la Mer? It's a project. Go on the internet and learn it. So I was just thrown into the sea. And then, this is the numbers, this is the project, learn the project, find a buyer, close the deal. So I got into it because I wanted to really be successful at what I do. So I got into learning the project, I went to the project, understood the project completely, got the list, and I pitched. And again, I don't pitch anything unless I'm convinced. So I'm not, my thought process is not to sell. My thought process is to add value. I saw a lot of value in the project, and I thought that this could bring value to an investor. So I was very genuine about it. This is what I feel about business, that what drives me. So I started calling numbers, and I think on day 17, I got my first call through. Of course, it's a lot of work. All the realtors, all the agents, all the tele-agents, they would know what the real estate industry is. From outside, when you look at the industry, it's about driving the Bentleys and the Porsches and the Rolls Royces of the world and wearing all the brands. But what goes behind the scene, Only the agent knows how many calls he has done, how many viewings he has done, how much he has worked to close that one deal. Even the client sometimes feel, oh my God, you made 400,000 dirhams, 1 million dirhams just on selling me this house. But bro, you know the work that I put in, you know the hours I've spent, and after that I have reached this point.
Yeah.
Anyways, coming back to my first job, so I went there, I made those calls. Day 17, I closed the deal with an investor from Kuwait. And I mean, of course, I'm blessed because I've been selling for the last 20 years, 23 years. So sales for me, in fact more, I would say 33 years. Sales for me is the back of my hand, you see. So I understand customer perception, I understand product knowledge, I know how to deliver a thing, I know how to cultivate a relationship. But most importantly, something in me drives me by adding the value to the deal. The sales and the profitability is a residue.
Yeah.
It happens by chance.
Definitely.
So I closed this first deal for Port de la Mer. I went to Coca-Cola Arena. Oh, I had to stay the whole night there in a queue. And my colleagues were just, seriously, somebody like you can do it? I said, of course I'll do it. Because I'm here to do it. I stood in the queue and I was fighting for my place. Fighting, I mean physically fighting for my place. And I got token number 7. I was the 7th in.
Okay.
And even my manager was like surprised that, seriously, Ajazz got token number 7? He stood the whole night there? I said, yeah, if I have to do something, I have to take it to the end. So I went there, I went to the customer, I got him the unit, and my first sale was about 130,000 dirhams.
Awesome.
So that was the commission I got the company. And I saw the kind of money I made. I could not sleep the whole night. I was like, man, if I would have gotten into this business in 2004, where would I have been? This is crazy. There is no investment. There is no risk. There's nothing. You're putting in your best and you're turning money around.
Exactly.
17 days, I closed a profit of 67,000 dirhams.
Amazing.
Nothing spent, nothing done, just my expertise.
Just work.
So I was like, wow. So that was the beginning of my getting into the industry. Now the question that you asked was, why did I open the company? And you're right. Initially I thought that the idea of getting into real estate was to create the wealth and make money, which is a fact. Everybody wants to make money. And I wanted to make money too. But as I came into the industry, I saw that a lot of people like me are trying to get in, but they're not getting a direction. They're not getting the support. They're not getting a hand over there. So I left this company, I went to the next one because of whatever reasons. And the next one I went to was the same. It was a very big organization and you were just left on your own. So I went up to the CEO and I told him, listen, I think, what you need to do is we need to have a hierarchy. You need to have, let's say, a manager. We need to have team meetings. We need to have some inspiration. We need to have some training. They were already doing 1 billion dirhams worth of business. They did not care. They said, we're making the money. Whoever comes and brings money, brings business, will bring him in. Whoever doesn't bring business will work, because you're working for free. There's no salary. It's a commission-based business.
Yeah.
So they don't care who walks in and who walks out, right? So people kept coming in, trying their luck and going out. It doesn't matter to the company, but it matters to the person who's giving his time.
Of course.
Then I left that company because it did not go with my ethics and my principle. And I went to the next company. And this company that I went to, I was very fortunate to meet the owner of the company. He said, Ajazz, you're highly qualified for this job. Are you serious you want to come in as an agent? I said, yes, I'm absolutely serious because I'm here to make money. And I'm very focused about making money. There's a lot of opportunity in the market and I want to take that opportunity. You have a beautiful pad. I want to use it as my resource and I want to do it. I'm very grateful. He gave me the opportunity and I started working. But as I went along, this whole thing dawned upon me that I am somebody who's led teams of thousands of people. I had more than 20,000 people working in Kashmir in my production line. I've always had businesses where I've had a lot of people employed and led teams, made strategies, created products, created markets. So I thought, why not in real estate? So I approached the CEO of the company and I told him, listen, you do 1 billion dirhams worth of business. He said, right. I said 99%, 95% business is done by you. The 4-5% business, there are 15, 20, 30 agents you have. They're just doing that. He said, what are you suggesting? I said, give me a team. Give me at least 8 to 10 people. I will create a team and I would like to utilize this team to sell. He said, but these people haven't closed for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. What are you going to do with them? I said, well, you leave that to me, what I'm going to do with them. But if you give me these people and if you give me your platform and if you give me resources, I can turn this around. He said, okay, but there's a condition. I said, what is that? He said, let's set up a target. I said, what is that? He said, the target will be an X amount. So I said, done. This is the target, 30 million dirhams for the first quarter. I said, okay, let's look at it. So I turned around at 55 million in the first quarter. People who had not closed for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, a year started closing. So I brought out in my team the quality and the set skills that they had and added my set skills to close those deals.
And how did you bring out the best in them?
Well, we all have the best in us. You just need that little bit of push and you need somebody to recognize what is special in you, what is special in him, what is special in her, where can I utilize your set skill, where I can utilize her set skill. Somebody is good at calling, somebody is good at connections, somebody is good at meetings, somebody is good at pitches, somebody is good at presentation. You see? So I mixed and used all of their skills together and I helped them move to the next level.
Okay.
So that's how we worked as a team and it worked for everybody. And we did a fantastic business. It was doing very well and then again due to certain whatever reasons I had to leave that company and then I decided, okay, this is the time now I should set up something of my own where I don't have to go out and ask for permissions, where I don't have to go and ask for budgets, where I don't have to go and ask for support from my team. If I'm in charge of my own team, if I'm in charge of this business, my growth could be much faster. As a CEO, as an owner, you can take the calls like this. But as a manager, there's a hierarchy. So you have to wait for this, you have to wait for that, and it became frustrating for me. Because look, I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always seen things from the top. So when I saw things from the top and I wanted to put them in, of course there are going to be insecurities.
Definitely.
You see, you will take over the whole system because you're creating your own system. But sometimes people don't see your true nature and they get kind of insecure that maybe you will take over their business. So that was the reason I set up my own company. And with God's grace, we set up the company in a few days. You know how Dubai works. It is like this.
I remember I heard about it a couple of months back. Next thing you know, I'm here in the office is set up and you've got the nice chairs and the fancy office and it's all good together. Yeah, it happened very quick.
Yes.
And I very much like the way you do business and make decisions. You mentioned this hierarchy before.
Yes.
And how in certain companies things can take a lot of time. The one thing that I've noticed here is if someone has an idea and it's good, done, let's make it happen.
Exactly.
You're very quick to execute.
That's the
And that's
idea.
why everything here runs so smoothly. And there's training, weekly basis. There's people coming in multiple times. You know, I'm meeting you on a daily basis. And that's something I really enjoy about being here. There's constant support, which is awesome in a market like this where, like you mentioned, people are just being cycled through. You know, there's agents who are on the phone doing their thing, they're not getting that support. Next thing you know, they're out of Dubai. So I'd just like to commend you on that. I think you've set up an amazing operation.
Thank you.
Ajazz, for all the new agents entering Dubai, what sort of advice do you have for them? How do you get off the ground running here?
Join me.
Join Miri. Nice and simple.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Again, as I told you, I have been an agent myself. So I know where the shoe hurts. I know what are the shortcomings in the market. I know exactly what an agent wants because I've been there myself. So this is my whole idea, is to give my team, my agents, the resource and whatever is required to make them successful. So what I saw in my experience of the years that I spent in the real estate industry learning about the industry is very relevant, that in every company the majority of the sale is done right at the top. There are just those few agents which are closer to the management which bring in the maximum business. Of course, these agents are very good and they're very intelligent, intellectual, experienced, have networks and everything. But then it becomes like this is what brings business and the management does not care about what is at the bottom. In every company, if you have, like, let's say, any good sized real estate company is between 30, 50, 60, 100 agents. Now here you'll see you have those top performing 5, 8, 10 agents. 80 to 90% of your team is just coming in and going. So the retention level is very less in this industry. And this is because of this fact. And this is a fact, as much as any brokerage will deny, this is the fact that I have seen that is there. To address this and to run my business differently, and I would say to also disrupt the market, I wish to bring success right at the bottom. So that's why I designed our operation in a way that the agent who joins Miri Homes is supported in every way, whether it's telesales, whether it's marketing, whether it's leads, internal or external, whether it's training, whether it's exposure to products and developers, even to an extent that every team I have put a head of sales in charge who helps them hone their skills till they are there and they are independent. You see? So this is what I say to all the new realtors who are aspiring to be real estate agents in the market. They have to hustle, they have to learn the skill, they have to listen to the customers, they have to train themselves well. So this is not something you come in, you switch yourself in and you start. This is not a slot machine that you start making money. Even in a slot machine you put a coin and you wait for your luck. But here in real estate, luck comes only by perseverance, it comes by training, it comes by hard work. But you should have that conducive environment which gives you all of this. This is what we provide at Miri Homes. To a level where I handhold each of my agents personally. I would go into a meeting with them even if it's for $500,000 dirhams. A client is a client. We have to service a client whether it's for $500,000 dirhams or for 500 million dirhams. It's a client, you see. So I, as much as I can, support each one of my agents with everything that I can do. And I have also created systems where all the teams are led by a head of sales. So that head of sales who we choose from the past experience and knowledge that he or she has in the market. So the team is assisted by that head of sales. This is what we do for our teams.
Awesome. And what's your vision for 2023 and beyond?
Well, very good question. The vision is to add value and to add smiles to at least 1,000 homeowners. 1,000 families. That is the vision. That we can see 1,000 happy families in Dubai who we have assisted in buying their homes and who are happy about the decision that they've made and they're comfortable and they send us good energy always.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is the vision.
Awesome.
For the year one.
Nice. On your phone, I noticed a picture of you in the Rolls Royce. When can we expect this?
Well, I believe, Ricardo, that it's very important to have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing clarity starts from is thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you think is what you manifest. That's very important. And then, of course, we all know how manifestation happens, how you create your vision boards, and all of that. By the way, those are another set of skills I love to share with my team. So I don't share with my team just about real estate. I share with my team about the journey that I have had. So I've not been a successful business all the time. I've not led all the companies through success. I've had failures too. But failures are the points which teach you the most.
Definitely.
You see? So life is not just about the successes that you've gone through. It's also a part of the failures. And both success and failure together give you an experience. That experience is life. So what I love to share with my team is life. So there may be somebody coming in with me and sitting for 30 minutes. We will not talk about real estate. We'll talk about life. We'll talk about manifestation. We'll talk about gratitude. We'll talk about joy. We'll talk about experience. Because you can learn anything and everything from everywhere. But these are finer things in life that only come with time.
So what are some of the daily routines you've implemented that have given you the most success?
Well, first of all, the most important routine is that value and be present in each moment. That is the most important thing. That wherever you are, whether it's the morning, afternoon, evening, be present in that moment. So if you're present in that moment all the time, then you are living life right now. There is no yesterday and there is no tomorrow. That only exists in space-time. What is reality is now.
Have you read The Power of Now?
Yes, yes. I'm very fond of reading books. I'm very fond of reading about manifestation, about being in the now, spirituality. That's a huge conversation that we can have. And yes, and I think that the power of now is very relevant and it's very powerful. And if you are in the now, that helps you manifest what you want. But there are many things beyond that also.
Definitely.
For example, your brain can process both what you don't want and what you want. And that is what will be manifested. So it depends on what you are focusing on. Are you focusing more on what you don't want? But if you're focusing on what you don't want, that will manifest. You see?
Yeah.
So sometimes we feel I'm focusing on what I don't want and that's coming up, surfacing up. It's because your focus is there. And if you focus only on what you want, then you're manifesting only what you want.
I've read about this concept in a book called The Secret, actually.
The
It
Secret,
talks about that, yeah.
Wanda Bryan. Yes. These are masters. I mean, they've written and done some amazing work. I love reading. I totally feel that there's so much that we can learn from reading. So it's like I've lived this life and I'm squeezing it into a book. So for you to understand and go through my journey, you just give it a couple of hours and you'll get to know what I've gone through. So the books like Secret, The Power of Now, great examples, great works by great
Favorite
masters.
book?
Sorry?
Your favorite book?
My favorite book? Well, there are so many. I cannot pinpoint on any one of them. But if I have to pick up one, let's say The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Yes, by Robin
Yeah.
Sharma. That's a very interesting read. And I also love, there's an author from Turkey known as Alif Shafak. She's written The 40 Rules of Love.
The 40 Rules
The
of
40
Love.
Rules of
Okay,
Love.
interesting.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, these books sometimes just completely rattle you. There's a book by Osho, a very beautiful book. I don't remember the name. I'll come back to it. A very beautiful book. Again, shakes your values, your thought process, your belief system. I don't know if you know about Osho. He was a master out from India. Very, very controversial, but his books, amazingly amazing. There's a lot of work that has been done by the masters way back in India, which are very inspiring. So yeah, there's a lot to explore.
A lot of history there.
Yeah, a lot of history there.
Your favorite car?
My favorite car. Well, for now it's my Bentley, and of course a Rolls Royce. I love Ferrari too. Yeah,
Beautiful.
these are some of my favorite cars.
Nice. Favorite food?
I'm a total foodie. I love all food that brings joy in terms of spices, taste. I mean, I'm not stuck to any one single kind of food. I love home cooked food for sure. I mean, if something is cooked at home, which is mostly Indian, North Indian food, even South Indian food, I love it. But I experiment and explore everything. I love Thai, I love Chinese, I'm a hardcore non-vegetarian, so I love all the steaks and stuff. But yeah, good food.
Very hard to beat North Indian food, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of variety here in Dubai. Which
Sure.
is awesome. Awesome. Well, I think we'll call it a wrap there. Great chatting to you, Ajazz.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. This is just the beginning. We can have many more.
Part 2.
Perfect.